Hi friends, welcome to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. Ashish here, and today I'll be covering a puzzle genre on our channel. So this puzzle is called U-Bahn or underground puzzle, and today we'll be solving two puzzles on this video. So the first puzzle is by Pierre Tato, and I really thank the author for giving me an opportunity to cover a video on our channel. So we haven't covered this puzzle genre on our channel earlier, so it's just an introduction to the puzzle genre. Let's see if we'll be able to crack both the puzzles. So before going to the puzzle, I would highly recommend you to please subscribe to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles if you haven't done so. It will really motivate us to cover videos on regular basis. And if at all you have a request for any Sudoku variant or a puzzle genre, you can let us know in the comment below and we'll surely make a video on it. And now coming back to this puzzle. So the rules of this puzzle are quite easy. You need to draw a loop network through the center of some cells. So it's not a single closed loop or a loop where you cannot have branches. So branches are possible here. You have to draw a loop network through the center of some cells which may branch or turn but may not have a dead cells. Have any dead ends. Dead ends in the mean, by dead ends I mean, so when you have this here, this has to go somewhere, right? It cannot go up, of course it has to go somewhere, and you cannot just stop here and connect the loop like this, and this is just a dead end here. You cannot have a dead end. This has to connect somewhere within the loop of networks, right? You can have something of that way. This is kind of a loop network here where you don't have any dead ends, right? So this is what the rule means, and a digit outside the grid indicates how many times the corresponding shape, right, across a branch or a straight line or a turn appears in the corresponding row or a column, irrespective of the line shape's rotation, right? So for example, the 2 here means you can have 2 turns in that column. This 2 refers to the turn, this 0 refers to the straight line, this 1 refers to the branch, and you don't have any reference for the plus here for now. So that particular digit indicates the segment that is going to appear in that particular column and how many times, and here the number indicates that particular line segment will appear in that particular row how many times, right? So for this 1 means there will be 1 branch in this row, this 2 means there will be 2 turns in this row, this 2 means there is 2 turn in this row, and so on, right? So wherever the number is not given, you can have any number of line segments there, but when a number is given, you will need to have only those many times of loop segment in that particular row or column. So you cannot have more than 2 U-turns in this column, but you can have any number of U-turns in this column, right? So with that, let us start solving this puzzle. So there are a few things that you will always have to keep in mind. The few things are that the edge, I mean to say the corners, will always have a U-turn. If at all you have something in the corners, it will always be the U-turn, right? You can always mark the crosses here because you cannot have anything growing outside the grid, right? It's just for the basic thing. Beginners. It's just for the beginners that I am going to say you how you can try to start solving this puzzle. Of course, regular solvers won't try to use these many crosses here, but for beginners it is highly recommended to use these kind of crosses because you will get to know how actually this puzzle genre works, and after that you can change your notation as when you are comfortable with, right? One thing is this. The second thing is that if at all at the edge you have a straight line, it will always have to be this way only, right? For the row it will always have to be horizontal, for the column it will always have to be the vertical thing, right? Okay. Okay, I'll go with the middle thing, actually better with the middle. Yeah, this would be better. I'll just go with the middle rather than the, okay, yeah. It will be easy for me to explain. As you can see here, you can have branches this way, branches this way. So rotation is allowed here. For a particular cell, a branch can be any way. You can have it this way, or you can have it this way, you can have it any way you want, but rotation is allowed, but a branch has to be in that particular row or a column, right? Now with that, let us start solving this puzzle. So a few more things that are possible in this puzzle generates. The some tricks are here. So you can see that whenever the number of line segments in particular row or a column, the number of line segments coming in will always have to be equal to the number of line segments going out. So of course you can have branches. If at all there are no branches, then this point is valid. If at all there are branches, then you will have different number of line segments coming in and going out, right? But one thing that you have to keep in mind is whenever you have exactly even number of U-turns in a row or a column. So for example, in this column you have exactly 2 U-turns. Wherever the U-turns may be, one of the end segment of the U-turn will be in the row and the other end segment of the U-turn will have to be in the column. So whenever you have even number of U-turns in a particular row or a column, then you can say that there will be even number of line segments within that particular row or a column. So for example, I have in this row, I am not counting the line segments or the dead ends going outside, but within this row or within this column you have exactly 2 dead ends. One is this, one is this. So if you have 3 here, right, if you have 3 U segments, then you will have odd number of dead ends or odd number of line segments within that particular column. So whenever you have even number of U-turns and one branch, so this is a plus or a cross, this is a branching, this is a straight line, and this is a U-turn. Whenever you have 2 U-turns and one branching, you can make sure that branching has a particular way of orientation. This is quite complicated to understand at first, but let me say you how actually this works. So what I am saying is, if you have 2 U-turns, right, exactly 2 U-turns, you exactly have 2 dead ends in this particular or 2 line segments in this particular column. And if that is the case, what happens if you have a branching this way, right? Where will this particular line segment or a dead end will go out? How it will go out? There is no way you can take this line segment or this dead end out without having a U-turn or a branch, right? So if you see in other way, all the other types of segments have 2 or even number of line segments except the branch. So for the plus you have even number of dead ends, that is 4. For a straight line you have even number of dead ends, that is 2. For a U-turn you have even number of dead ends, that is 2 again. But for a branching you will always have an odd number of dead ends, right? So whenever you have this case, you can directly mark how the branching will be. So for example, if you have 3 U-turns in a particular row or a column and one branching, you can directly write the orientation of branching seeing the number of dead ends, right? So if you have even number of dead ends in a row or a column, the branching will have to be vertical. I mean to say top and bottom would have to be the straight line in a row, in a column I mean, and in a row it would have to be this way, because for that row these 2 line segments or these 2 dead ends will be used as a parity thing, and for a column these 2 dead ends will be used as a parity thing. Now why this logic is helpful? Because in this particular puzzle the author has used this logic to make sure that you can solve this puzzle easily, without which it would be really very difficult, right? Now if you see this column, you have 2 U-turns and 1 branching, right? You have 2 U-turns and 1 branching, which means you'll have 2 dead ends in that particular column, and that branching would have to have a orientation this way or this way. Wherever in that column, wherever you have, it would have to be this way, either this way or this way, but not this way, because then you'll have only 1 dead end in that column that will be used by one of the U-turns, and the other U-turn will have 1 dead end unused, right? So this kind of logic is really helpful in tough puzzles, and let's see if you are able to crack this kind of logic in here, right? Now let us see. This column will have 1 branching and 2 U-turns, which means the branching would have to be somewhere this way, right? Either this way or this way, or this way, anything, right? But the branching would have to be straight line in that particular row, and a branch, I mean to say perpendicular line segment towards the row. Same way for this row, you will have a branching this way, right? Straight line in the column and the perpendicular direction in the straight line in the row and the perpendicular direction in the column. So you can say that for this column the branching is this way, so it cannot be towards the edge, and it cannot be here because for this row the branching would have to be the other way. So which means the branch segment would have to be somewhere here in this cell, and for this row the branch here would have to be here in this cell, right? So it can either go top or bottom or left and right at this cells, right? And you have to extend always. So whenever you get one type of a dead end, you'll always have to extend it to the other cell. Now we know that this cell and this cell will have a branching, either top and bottom for this cell and left and right for this cell, to make sure you fulfill this column and this row logic. So we know that this too will have two U-turns. Let's see where it can have. It can have here, it can have here, it can have here. Now this cell, we are not yet sure that it will have a plus or a U-turn. But let's see. Of course, now this cell cannot have a branching, because we know that branching is somewhere in this cell, and you can have only one branch in this row and one branch in this column. So this has to be a U-turn, this has to be a U-turn. There are two U-turns here in this row, and you cannot have a U-turn here because of the 0 here. So this would have to be a U-turn and this would have to be a U-turn. We got the branching here already. Now this cannot be the U-turn. It can still be a plus. No, this cannot be a plus as well. It cannot be a U-turn because this is already a U-turn, this is already a U-turn, so this would have to be a branching, and this will go, and this branching is also done, right? And which means you can have a cross here. Okay, now how could we do it? This can even be a plus, or this can even be a U-turn, and then we can continue somewhere. Okay. Oh, that's an amazing logic here, guys. Amazing logic. You can see here this would have to be a U-turn because of the 2 here. Of course, both of these cannot be U-turn. This would have to be a U-turn. This would have to be a U-turn because of the 2 here. This would have to be a U-turn because of the 2 here. It cannot be a branching because both of these cannot be U-turns. And this would have to be a U-turn because of 2. So out of the 5 dead ends, 4 would have to be the U-turns. And 5 dead ends cannot, this is the odd parity, right? 5 dead ends are the odd parity, but all the dead ends would have to meet each other, which means there is a branching here in one of the cells. Out of the 5 dead ends, one of the dead end is a branching, and this is not a branching, this is not a branching, this is not, and neither is this. So this would have to be the branching. And am I right? Okay, so this would have to go up, this would have to go up. This cannot be the U-turn because then you will have to have it this way, and you cannot have a straight line in this row. So which means this would have to be the plus, and these are the U-turns. Am I right? So as let's see, you have one branching here and 2 U-turns here. For this you have 2 U-turns here, right? For the 0, no straight line. For the 1, you have one branching here, that is this, and 2 U-turns. For the 0, you have no U-turns here, and that we have solved this puzzle. Amazing, right? I'm not sure why the answer check is not used, but maybe, oh, so power cut. I'm not sure why the answer check is not used here. Maybe because of the notation that I've used. I've used the regular line length than the edge line. Okay, let's see. So we have solved the first puzzle by Piatato. A very excellent puzzle. Let's see if you are able to solve the second puzzle. The second puzzle that we'll be solving here is by Jacob and Bufferjelt. And let's see if you are able to crack this puzzle. I don't know how do I start this. So you'll have two places here, can be anywhere. You have 4 U-turns here. So if you see this row has 2 line segments, right? You'll have 2 line segments. I'll again use the line middle and line helper, right? That would be better. Okay, so you have 2 line segments and 1 branching would have to be only this way. The orientation is this, which means those line segments, those dead ends would have to go out, and there is only one way possible, using a U-turn, right? Using the U-turn only it is possible. So which means this row would have 2 U-turns, 1 branching and 2 line segments. So you can have a U-turn this way, or if you have a U-turn, you will have straight. So you'll have 2 U-turns, right? So one of the U-turns would have to be this, other U-turn would have to be within this. So this is for sure. These lines are for sure, because whatever be the case, if there is a U-turn here, it would have to go straight. The branch and the line segment would have to be consecutive. They cannot have a break in between, or you cannot have a cell that is unused in between, because whenever you have that case, the number of U-turns will increase by +2, right? So of course you have only 6 cells here. You have already 2 U-turns here, which is 5 cell used. You cannot have more than 3 U-turns in a particular row for this row. So which means if I have a break in between, I will have 4 U-turns, and then I won't be able to fulfill the branch and the line segment here, which means the branch and the line segment would have to be consecutively placed. Amazing. I will have the same thing here. Same thing. I have 2 line segments, 2 straight lines. Those would have to be consecutive, because you need 2 U-turns. No, but of course that's not possible. You can have this way as well, right? Possible. That is possible. So let's see what else we are missing here. Same way I'll have two U-turns in this too as well, in this row. So I have two branches and two U-turns. I can still have four U-turns and two branches this way. If I have exactly two branches that are consecutively placed, okay guys, sorry for the sound, I'll just come back. Sorry guys. Okay, so if you see here, there are two pluses in this row, and this row column cannot have a plus, which means this cannot be a plus, this cannot be a plus. You will have two pluses within these three cells, which means they have to connect it this way. So either these both can be the plus, or these both, or these both, anyway, but you will have this line segment. Okay. Okay, both the plus cannot be these, because then you'll have two branches in the top row. Amazing logic. If both of these are pluses, you'll have two branches in the top row, which is not possible. So one of the plus would have to be this, and this is a U-turn. Now this cell is not used now. Okay, so which means this is one of the U-turns, one of these cells are branches, one of these two cells are branches, so this is a straight line. And you'll have a U-turn here. Okay, now we know that there are two straight lines. Now those two straight lines would have to be consecutive, because if they are not consecutive, you will not be able to fulfill those two straight lines. So this is the way. Now these two straight lines are done, this is done. You will have one U-turn already. This has to go down. You have two pluses and two straight lines. One plus is here, one more plus, and the other would have to be the straight line. Okay, not sure. You have two branches here. Now these two branches would have to be consecutive. You already have one U-turn used in this column. You cannot have one more U-turn used. So this is not the cell used. Both of these would have to be branches. Amazing. This is not a U-turn, which means this has to go straight at least. This can still be a branch or a straight line. Again, this cannot be a U-turn, so it at least has to go straight. It can still be a branch. No, I have done something because wrong. I need two pluses here. Okay, I could still have a branch in this column. I got what I did wrong here. They would have to be consecutive, but we are not sure if you can still have an extra branch here, or it will directly go this way. That was my mistake here. I'm extremely sorry. Okay, so which means you need two pluses, right? You cannot have a plus here. You can have a plus here, but that would give you two U-turns. So which means one of these line segments is a branch and there are two straight lines. I'm continuing this puzzle here. Okay, the camera didn't work in between, so I had to continue it here. Okay, so here we got to know that there has to be a plus here that will create a branch in one of these cells. So which means it has to go down and come here. Okay, so this is not a branch, so this has to be a straight line, which means this is not a plus. Either the plus is here or here. Both the straight lines would have to be horizontal, because you cannot have a straight line either here or here or here. So which means you'll have two straight lines and two plus that will directly take you to the last cell. Okay, this can still be a branch. This is a straight line, so one straight line, one plus is done. You need one more plus and one more straight line. Okay, if this is a straight line, this is also a straight line. I mean, if this is not a plus, then you'll have two straight lines in this column, which is not possible. So this is a plus and these are the straight lines. So you have two straight lines and one branch here, two pluses and two straight lines here. Okay, but okay, what am I doing wrong here? I'm not sure. Why did I? Okay, so if I have a straight line this way, no, one of the plus will create a branch, that would be one branch, and two would have to be straight lines. So if this is a straight line, this is also a straight line. No. Okay, so you can have it even this way, right? Okay, yeah, I'm missing something then. So for sure this is a plus now, right? This is not a plus, this can still be a branch. This is quite confusing puzzle, guys, really confusing puzzle. So we'll have 4 U-turns here. You already cannot have a U-turn here, so all of these would have to be U-turns. 4 would have to be U-turns. This has to go straight at least, because it cannot be a U-turn, it can still be a branch. if this is a branch, you would have to have a U-turn. Okay, it has to go straight, so you need either a plus here or a plus here, but that's confusing. But all of these four are U-turns. It has to be somewhat with the row too. This is not a plus, this can still be a branch. Okay, if this is a plus, the same logic that we used here, you'll have odd number of end segments within that column. You have 4 even end segments using the 4 U-turns, so you have one that is extra remaining, so this cannot be the plus, this would have to be the plus. And then this is the straight line. You have 2 pluses here, 1 U-turn here. These 4 are U-turns now. It has to go straight, it cannot be a U-turn. Again it has to go straight. Okay, it can still be a branch, but it won't be a branch because of the same logic. You need 4 U-turns and even parity, right? Okay, so this would have to go this way, cross, and it would have to go this way. This is a U-turn now. These all are U-turns. You cannot have a branch here, of course. So you have 2 straight lines, 2 plus and 1. Okay, one of the U-turns, both cannot come down. Will it come down? Possible. So this is a U-turn. This is not a plus. You need branches here somewhere and a straight line. Either this is a branch or this is a branch. Okay, come on, where am I? What am I missing here? So this cannot be a plus, this cannot be a plus. If this is the plus here, need to have two straight lines. So this is one of the straight line, of course both cannot be straight, and this would also be the straight line. So there will be two straight lines within this column, so this cannot be plus, so it has to be this, right? So you got a branching here, you got straight lines here. This cannot be the straight line, because if this is the straight line, you'll have two straight lines in this column again. So this is the straight line and this is the straight line. That turns out so you have one straight line already here. You cannot have a plus, you need two branches here. Come on, it's an easy puzzle, but it's really confusing for me. It's for the first time I'm solving this puzzle. Okay, if you have a straight line here, right, if this is a straight line, this also would be a straight line. You'll have two straight lines here, so this is not the straight line, this would have to be the straight line. You get a U-turn here. If this is straight, it cannot even be a branch, it cannot be a straight, so it has to be a U-turn. Okay, so you'll have a branching here or here, whatever be the case, you need to have line segment crossing this. If you have a branching here, or a branching here, okay, no, that is not helping us. If this is not a branching, this is not a branching, both of these would have to be branching. Already have one straight line here. This cannot be the straight line, this can still be branching, this is not the branching. It's quite confusing. I'm at the end, I'm unable to see what am I missing. I have two pluses and two straight lines. Oh guys, this is not the branching, right? Zero here, so this would have to be the branching, and this is one of the branching here. So it goes up this way. Okay, you have a one branching here, you will need one more branching here. It is this cell, right? right? Because now this is also branching, you have 3 branches here now. Okay, this cannot be a branch. It can go this way actually. I did not mark a cross there, so it can go this way. Now we know this is a branch here, right? This is not a branch. If this is a cross here, you'll have 2 straight lines. So this is not a cross. You'll have a line here. This is not a branch. So this is a branch and this would have to be this way. Okay. Now if you see here, you'll have 2, 1, 0 plus. You have 2 branches here and 1 straight line. Right? Okay. For this one, you have 1 straight line, which is this. For these 2, you have 2 pluses here and 1 U-turn here. This 1 and 2 is done, 2 pluses and 2 straight line is done. For 0, you don't have even a single branching here. For 4 U-turns, and this is 2 branches. A really difficult puzzle, guys. I am not sure if that is difficult, but for me it was really difficult because it was the first time that I have solved this puzzle. Really difficult one, quite confusing. Marking the crosses is really important, but thanks a lot to both the authors, all the authors, for this wonderful puzzle. I'm not sure if this is right or wrong, but the answer check is not coming because of the the notation that I have taken. So let's see if we are able to practice this puzzle or not. It was really difficult, but thanks to all for watching the video. Thank you, and if at all you have any request for any Sudoku variant or a puzzle genre, you can let us know in the comment below. Thank you.